who's gonna win.
Well, we know for sure who won the last game. Virtus Pro already leading the series 1-0 as we head into game number 2 of Friends versus VP. Blaze going to be joining me once again. Blaze, we are going to be seeing a different draft this time for game number 2. Do you think that draft was a bit of the problem for game number 1 for Friends? Because it was a greedier lineup, right? And you even said from the get-go that, you know, they had some good heroes versus Slark.
Yeah, it's straight up. Like, the only thing that Slark really brought to the table is he's a really good Silver Edge carrier, but other than that, like, he doesn't DPS inside the Chronosphere. He's not able to really deal that much damage to PA early on. Like, he's good with an Omni Knight behind him, and he's good with a Silver Edge, but that's really all that it brought to the table, so I wasn't the biggest fan of that pick. He even got mostly free farm in the safe lane. He was top net worth in the early game, and really didn't show enough for it. I feel like in general, a big issue with the draft for Friends was their ability to fight early on and their immobility. Like, it was smoke after smoke after smoke coming up from VP. There were like 3 in the span of about 5 minutes, and it just felt like they were always getting initiations. They were always finding the opportunities, and Friends were the ones that were slow to react. Whether the Omni Knight couldn't get in position to turn it with a Purification or Repel, or just in general their team really wasn't able to respond. And we're going to see mobility be a key once again, as we see both the Wisp and the Sand King be the openers for Virtus Pro.
And the Shadow Demon opening maybe leads straight into a Kunkka support for Friends as well. And they can have their support do straight up. But no, they go for the Omni Knight once again versus the IO Sand King. It still does make, I think, a good amount of sense. Omni Knight is still probably one of the more powerful supports / offlaners in the pool right now.
It's good, but like I feel like they're overrating it. I've seen more Omni Knights lose in the past week than obviously than win, and just in general, like I feel like it's so high prioritized again in some of the European teams. And if you're not playing it right, if you're not building like a 5-man draft, a draft that really fights well with it and gets heroes that really work amazingly with Repel, I just don't see the value compared to other options. Sure, you can pick it up like 3rd or 4th, but opening with it shows so much about your draft in terms of your lack of mobility, your lack of ability to quickly respond to tough situations. I don't know. I'm not fully feeling it, but we'll see what Friends can do differently this time.
As a similar pickup, right? Sand King is definitely a lot more open of a pick, right? He can both be the support and the offlane, similar to Omni Knight, but the things that he offers, there isn't that many really ways to be able to pick at a weakness there, because weaknesses for Sand King is maybe like lack of physical damage, lack of a potential like really good late game potential that's easily covered up by the rest of your cores. But you know for sure the Friends is going to be pretty immobile given the Omni Knight. Their whole entire lineup is going to rely on this big healer being with them, which means you're probably able to play the split push game, which Wiz is going to be really good at. We'll see what VP are going to try and pair with it. A couple of the best diffusal blade / physical damage heroes are going to be banned away by Friends. They deal with the Juggernaut, that is first and foremost when you have an Omni Knight, and they're going to go ahead and ban the Ursa as well, which we kind of pinged last game as a potential pickup win against an Omni Knight.
Yeah, and of course they picked up the Shadow Demon with it, so yeah, they're going to be able to rely on his spells very well. The Repel, the Guardian Angel, for the most part, they should stick. I don't think the Doom's going to be picking up a Purge Creep or anything like that, and for a while at least you're going to be seeing some lack of the Purge ability. But in general, like, if we're seeing another No Fear Omni, if we're seeing this as a support duo, they've really tipped their hand. They are showing that this is pretty much how it's going to be in the laning phase. And they go back for one thing that they've been running a lot of recently and with great success. I think they're 75% this month on Luna, so able to really make the most of this hero. But I feel like their safe lane is just so static. Like, how are you going to be ganking mid? How are you going to be addressing any other lane? Like, we saw the Omni Knight do a little bit of dual action with the Vet Rider previously, and eventually that crumbled, but at least they got some good face time with the PA. In the end, I feel like Shadow Demon Omni Knight, they lack kill potential early. They just lack the ability to dominate the map, and I feel like Virtus Pro have more options until that mid game.
So what if they ran, say, an aggro tri-lane for Friends? Does that change your mind a little bit? If they did an aggro tri-lane and then tried to abuse the fact that it's a Wisp, Wisp setup, so most likely we're going to be having dual lanes, and they just got themselves a really strong solo safe lane, or maybe it's the Omni Knight, maybe it's something else.
Yeah, I've been seeing a few teams like that. I think like Escape and Complexity come to mind is really good. in terms of the aggro tri lanes going in and essentially dictating the pace of the game and how the lanes play out by forcing so much pressure in one lane. Omni is a little weak in this sense because he's so experience dependent. Toma knowledge offsets that a little bit, but for the first 10 minutes, you're going to feel like, okay, this is a level 2 Omni Knight. What is he doing? So I like the idea of pressuring and actually making it so that you have that you have control of where the lanes are going. But at the end of the day, yeah, you're lacking experience and you might not get enough out of it. So we're going to see a hero here, Sniper, who can kind of just sit back and do his dumb thing. And I'm kind of interested in that pick. Obviously, VP have run it a couple times, and they usually run like these big buffer heroes like Centaur and such that they can put right in front of him to keep him safe. But they don't really have all those options anymore. You have a repelled Storm Spirit flying at you with ball lightning, and I really
Yeah.
don't know how you get any distance from that.
I don't know either. This is going to be a really rough game for VP. I can't believe they didn't go for the last pick Sniper.
Yeah.
Because then you could have actually banned away the Storm Spirit in the 5th position. This seems like a huge misstep by Virtus Pro. I know the Sniper has been, what was it, like back all the way back in like MDL or something. Like there were teams banning away the Sniper because the OD was picked up 1-2, and then they would ban away the Sniper 3-4, etc. So I know teams they were back then were scrimming with the Sniper as a potential pickup versus the OD, and then teams discovered, hey, this hero is actually viable against more than just OD. But I'm pretty sure it's not viable this matchup where you've got this really strong aggro tri-lane potential scenario with the like locking down supports, and then the Storm Spirit's probably going to have a bit more of a free lane. And as you said, with Repel, he has free reign to do whatever he wants. There's going to be they have to get a Diffusal Blade carry now, right? Because then that's the only way Static Storm or Sand King's Impale is going to be able to disrupt whatever Storm Spirit's planning on.
Yeah, and I think that the answer to that is Storm Spirit just picks up a Linked Sphere. Like, a Linked Storm used to be a really, really good pickup until the Diffusal Blade got buffed to having a really short or non-existent cooldown. At that point, like, obviously you could just use 2 charges instead of 1 to pop the Linked and then kill the Repel. But at this point, like, with the cooldown being, I think, like 4 seconds now, it's actually, you can just go in with the Storm Spirit, with the Linked Sphere, and with the Repel, and there's absolutely nothing that can be done. I think you could like defensively relocate. You could just get out of dodge that way, but that's about it.
Well, there's another hero that can close the distance. Slardar is going to be last pick here for Friends. They're dire side as well. They've got a Luna. They've got great Roshan taking potential. They can pressure towers really easily. It's a hero that will do pretty well in a 1v1 matchup, but more importantly, will benefit from a 1v1 matchup a whole lot when you start going into that 15-minute point where you've already have a Slardar with a Blink Dagger. You don't have to worry about that timing. So there's a lot of potential for Friends to do those sort of things. It just comes down to VP's last pick here and whether or not Friends want to follow through with that. I couldn't really think of too much. A Sven as the last pick for VP. It looks like once again they're going to try and operate without a Diffusal Blade. Last time I was kind of okay with it. This time around though, Storm Spirit Repel, that feels too much for them to handle, but we'll see.
Yeah, as long as Undershock has a good game, at least he's on the Storm Spirit for now. They might switch it up here, but at least Afterlife traditionally running the off lane, and obviously Undershock started with the Void in the mid. So I expect Undershock to be pretty comfortable here. I mean, he's got so much behind him. I like to even theorycraft that you could have like an Aghanim's Luna putting the Eclipse on the Storm Spirit. He's just balling it with Repel, with like cliffs raining down upon you. It's just like a one-man wrecking crew here, but I don't know. It'll be pretty interesting. I think the cool thing about the Slaughter, like you mentioned, opens up Roshan. Also just is one really good fighting hero for controlling choke points. So where you might be run down by a Disruptor, Sand King, and Sven when you try to farm the stacked Ancients for the Luna, with a Slardar offsetting that a bit, I think you're actually going to be okay. Like, you can gotta just fight in that area, you can defend that area, and you can make VP come to you, and maybe even still trade evenly. So I think that it gives the right side of the map a lot of potential for Friends in general. The Ancients, the Roshan, just in general, their ability to take engagements and get the farm they need to really bring these heroes online.
All right, well, we're going to start off with a 5-man push out from Friends, who are smoked away and going to try and make their way into the jungle. Meanwhile, Disruptor had already TP'd out and see if he could catch the offlaner TPing as well and placing his ward. Friends, they may actually be able to find a free first blood here. We'll see. Lil hidden away in the trees. Going to pop some of that smoke, and he's good.
Yep, and in the meantime, you see just Eposh and Solo doing their thing. They're going to be able to get their ward up, but take control of the top rune area and just feel pretty confident in this offlane. Even getting a nice little ward here on the steps, just kind of showing any rotations that are coming through. So if there is any pressure coming in from the Knight, if there's any aggressive stacking coming out for either the Shadow Demon or the Luna or even the Storm to farm up pretty quickly, they have a good eye on that as well. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this offlane. You run obviously a lot of offlane Sand King, and now he's got the Wisp behind him. Do you think this really opens a door for some really aggressive potential?
Yeah, part of the problem with the Sand King offlane is that he's pretty easily not easily, but he can be harassed out, and you just need that start, right? You just need to be able to essentially start right-clicking creeps. So you can start loading up that Caustic Finale. Once you get your hands on those, you get 1 or 2 clicks in, then you feel comfortable being able to sit in that lane. Well, now with the Wisp there, it adds the mobility factor, so you can actually close distance with the supports, and you don't have to play the harassment game. You can always out-harass them, as well as the regen factor. You can feel confident pushing forward into the lane almost immediately, and this is going to be great because Luna's a melee hero. For all intents and purposes, you are a melee hero, just like the Morphling in many ways. So Pasha's going to have free reign to be able to use this Caustic Finale for CS and for zoning out Yoku.
Mm-hmm. And you get the movement speed from the tether, as well as like the ability to burrow tether and get the movement slow. Like stat slow on top of Caustic slow generates a lot of kill opportunities. I feel like the Omninet actually rotated back top, it wouldn't be so convincing. But with just a 2 versus 2, I feel like it's going to go dramatically towards the Sand King.
No one trying to play a bit of a pressure game onto the Storm Spirit. He really has to, right? Because he needs to, like, the laning phase is his time to shine right now over the Storm.
He's
got to do as much as possible.
10 minutes from now. Do something about it while you can.
Solo in some trouble is going to make the tether away to Pasha. Yoku already reads that one and will stay 1 step ahead of him. Looks like Yoku just a bit out of position. Or, sorry, rather Solo. A bit out of a position. Gets caught out by the nuke, disruption, and they're able to right-click him down. Pasha's still going to be pretty happy. Almost has his level 2. If he did, he'd actually have a kill and always want to fly right now. Not quite the case, though.
Yeah, I'm surprised Solo didn't go for the stick as soon as possible, because obviously Magic Stick, very good on Wisp, and even more so against the Shadow Demon. Early on, now the Shadow Poison, like level 1 Shadow Poison does 20 damage initially, or 26 damage initially, and then the stack only does so much. So I feel like if you're able to really manage the stacks well enough, if you have a Magic Stick and you only take 3 stacks at a time, you're not afraid of a Shadow Demon at all.
Uh-oh.
But actually going to go for the Burrow play on Yoku at the same time as action on mid.
Yeah, looks like no one. Very, very dead. So we'll see whether or not Yoku's going to be able to survive 2 seconds. No, there's no chance. He's going to get burrow struck. He will go down as well. So the sniper for the Luna, I feel like that trade benefits Friends a bit more than VP. But what do you think?
It's definitely close. I mean, obviously the IO took the last hit, so it's saying he's not going to be suddenly like ramping up his potential. I feel like IO can only do so much. Like he'll get his upgraded boots, his Urn of Shadows wand, and then he's like, yeah, I'm pretty good. Like there's not much more Wisp will want. So in general, the Luna, she'll come back. Sniper, tanking up is good. Like you get like your Power Treads Dragonlance, you can actually have a pretty good amount of durability, and that gives you some ability to react to storm jumps. But the weaker sniper is, the squishier sniper is, the more they can prey upon him later on. So I would say that the mid lane trade is better.
Yoku will take some damage here, but they immediately get a turn onto Solo, who does not have an escape right now. Tries to duck his way into the trees, easily caught by Always Wanna Fly. Pasha still dishing out damage, does have a Mango for another Burrow Strike if he wants to try and contest this, but Always Wanna Fly manning up against this fight and should be able to win it too. Stacks up more poison against Pasha, almost gets the nuke out. Yoku has to play distance though. Pasha could still go out for that Burrow Strike, uses it now on Always Wanna Fly as Solo comes back into the lane. Couple of right clicks will actually finish him off. Oh, the Fairy Fire, barely enough to keep him alive, and Friends will make the dual lane for them work once again. The Luna Shadow Demon is actually beating out this Wisp SK when it comes to kills. Obviously, pretty big CS advantage for an offlaner like Pasha. Sand King's going to be pretty happy with his item progression.
Yeah, the sum of the cores here, VP are winning the CS war, but yeah, I mean, kill score 3-1, and Friends really biting back. I gotta say that like Solo's making an interesting decision going for the bottle rush over the stick. I feel like stick is almost as good as bottle. Like, obviously it's 400 gold cheaper, and it feels like it'll do almost the same value because there's a lot of constant damage coming out from the Shadow Demon Luna with the poison with a couple of Lucent Beams here and there. So you're getting stick charges that you can use in combat, compared to like 3 bottle sips, which you may or may not be able to. If Solo's the focus, the stick is better. If he can stay back and keep his distance, maybe the bottle gets extra value.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, right? If he's dealing with Shadow Demon, he's going to be constantly being hit by poisons, whether it's the actual Shadow Poison itself hitting you or him actually using the Shadow Poison release. That's just going to cancel Bottle Charge. So even if he did have it, it wouldn't even necessarily be more value than the stick. I mean, I'm right there with you. I think that stick 100% should have been a pickup by him by now. Undershock feeling a lot of pressure from the sniper, but can't quite get the kill. And sadly, Undershock will be able to pick up his level 6 before the sniper can do any real damage to him.
Yeah, it looks like there was a bit of a call to arms up top where No Fear tried to get TP rotation to like levy the matchup, turn to 3v2 into maybe a couple more kills, but a little glimpse brings them right back home, and that means it's going to kind of stay status quo as far as the laning configuration goes.
Storm Spirit farms the last little bit in the jungle, level 6.5, where our sniper is only just now picking up his level 6. This is not the way they wanted this matchup to go. They wanted the sniper to be putting pressure and killing the Storm Spirit early, and then being able to get his level 6 first, ideally getting another kill on the Storm Spirit with some help maybe, but it's just not the case. All thanks to that early rotation from the Shadow Demon. Nice double stun, but nothing going to come of it.
Yep, and Yupash is going to be forced back here solo as well, back to the well. Finally has the bottle, but really, I feel like they could have gotten more out of the lane. The fact that the Omninet didn't come up means that they could have probably even greater suppressed the Luna instead. Yoku is going to be finding his level 6 here shortly, and should be able to at least find one good fight. Like, even if they like dive him with the burrow plus the tether, if he is able to pop off the Eclipse fast enough, I think he trades. And at that point, that's not the end of the world. Now, I do want to kind of set the fight up for what's going to be the big thing for this game, I think, is going to be Ancient Stacks. Luna, as well as Sven, very capable of farming up Ancient Stacks quickly. Sven, the faster of the two, but in general, I feel like both teams are going to be incentivized to trying to protect their economical advantage with their own Ancient Stacks, and we're going to see a lot of fights staged around them.
Our Wisp is going to make his way to back up No One a little bit. They see Undershock is level 7. He's got an Arcane Rune in his bottle. They know there is a lot of potential for Storm Spirit to start jumping on that sniper. So they're going to leave Pasha alone at this top lane. Should be fine, considering he's got level 3 Burrow Strike for a potential escape and has the Arcane Boots to back it up as well. So he should be good for the most part to be able to lane this one out by himself. Takes a small bit of damage from Yoku. Yoku does have his ultimate ready to go, and Pasha does not have Sandstorm. Obviously, Luna doesn't know that for sure, but probably has a pretty good guess, so Pasha needs to be a bit careful here. A little bit of a go, back and forth. Shadow Demon is coming in. Yoku holding on to that ultimate. They'll get the disruption now. Couple of Shadow Poison ticks. Pasha trying to dodge with Sandstorm into the trees. TP's out and will be able to make it. Yoku unable to get the vision there for a Lucent Beam to stop that TP out. SK escapes and making it so the Wisp's rotation is actually okay. If the Sand King had died there, it would have been pretty foolish for VP to move that Wisp around, and next thing you know, they're losing 2 of their lanes, essentially, because of Sand King dying.
Yep, but at least able to make that disengage here. And now I think the big thing is just how quick a VP can react. They don't have the relocate option for a little bit here. Even when the tome comes up, I think Wisp will still be level 5. So that means that we have to kind of look for very quick TPs and reactions to the dives that are definitely going to be coming out. Because Slardar, not maxing sprint, as we have seen some of the Eastern Slardars doing, but still able to get in there very aggressively with the Omni Knight. And actually up top, Yoku will just die. Like, the Omni Knight tried to come in to heal him up, but 3v2, they're able to get that kill. And it should be able to bring down Always Wanna Fly too. That repel helping, but just one more right click is all they need.
Oh, they're actually going to go into No Fear now, leaving Always Want to Fly. They still manage to pick it up with a little bit of help there from the sniper. Burrow Strike in, No Fear dropping lower and lower. No One wants to be able to complete this kill, and he'll have it too. Storm Spirit unable to put a stop to that one. No one able to be a part of some early kills. That is huge, as he was obviously having not the greatest time in lane in the Sniper versus Storm matchup, given his death to the Shadow Demon Invis earlier. So that really helped turn things around quite a bit. Still, though, Friends do manage to levy the fight a bit. Now, bottom lane, we are going to have a go here. Always want to fly. Wrapping around, will manage to get the disruption. Slow things down for the TP in from Yoku. Guaranteed kill on one. They're going to look for more in the form of Ramses. Get the amplified damage on him. Hoping to be able to close distance here. Afterlife has the crush. Nails it. Ramses already in on the half HP. They'll let loose the ultimate just to make things a bit easier. Not really hitting Ramses at all. Don't tell me he's going to be able to get away from this one. Walking away. Little bit of an armlet toggle. Maybe he can actually get out. The stun is coming up. Ramses, I don't think you can make it out unless he does another clutch armlet toggle. Oh my god, he did it. He did it again. Ramses, he's getting away. Oh my god, he's going to live through all of this one. No one's now here. They're going to be able to kill. Always want to fly. Maybe even Afterlife. Always want to fly. Oh, glimpse back. Omni Knight ultimate goes down. Repel. Always want to fly. Dodging some damage for now. Afterlife. Ramses. Armlet toggling beautifully. Shadow Demon still goes down. And Friends lose out big time. All because of that Sven and his clutch armlet toggles.
Yeah, beautiful timing from him. Just knew every instance of damage like it was scripted and was able to take care of it. I guess it's a probably poor choice of words considering the whole configuration scandals. But the big thing here is like the Luna was just had a weird sense of target priority. It was like lucid beaming an already dead target just for the KS when she could have been like allowing them to close the distance on the Sven. Doubles up the stuns between the crush and the lucid beam. So again, not getting any extra distance on the target. And then the Eclipse, unfortunately, the RNG factor comes into play, and he only hits him once. But Eposh is going to get the epicenter here on Always Want to Fly. Most dead Shadow Demon you'll ever see.
Pasha is even going to try and put some of that epicenter onto Luna as well. No fear is there, and he will manage to get the heal out and the repel, which means they could just go for the Omni Knight instead. They quickly kill the tier 1 tower. Still, though, the TPs will complete here. Relocate, attempted out. Undershock will put a stop to that one. Gets the whiz to start, but Ramses is still battling out against 2 cores. Pasha needs to help him out, but turns around for the burst strike onto the Storm. Instead, Afterlife will be the target for Sniper. Everyone from Friends is quite low, but they have the heal of the Omni Knight. Heals himself. Gets up, but is gonna fall down. Oh, actually, never mind. Raindrop will keep him alive.
Infused raindrops. That's probably one of the better skills to be able to block out. Like, there are only, a dozen or so nukes that'll really get the full value out of the raindrops, and certainly Assassinate is one of them. Makes it a bit of a misnomer here, but still, at least they got the Sven this time around. Like, there's definitely a world where he could have won and Arbo toggled through it all, but in the end, they still end up losing as Lil and Posh clean up one more. And just Posh has been so on point with all these burrow strikes, like just connecting with every one of them at max range in some cases. And while this kill will be delayed, the Shrapnel should finish it off, and then Undershock will get his vengeance here on the Sand King.
Yeah, Undershock is at least cleaning up a decent amount. It's 3-2-2, so he's been a part of a number of kills, is probably progressing pretty well into his Bloodstone. Checking out his net worth, yeah, he's second in net worth behind the Sniper. But more importantly, VP are exactly where they want to be at in all of their cores. All of them are kind of farmed to the point they're supposed to be. It's only Sand King who you could say, because of the dual lane scenario, should have been a little bit farther ahead than he is currently. But he's not that far behind. He's about to pick up his Blink Dagger. The Sven as well as the Sniper, very happy with where they're at. And they're even going to be able to get the Sven a bit of a boost eventually, as they're going to start Ancient stacking for him. Obviously, didn't go for the Helma Dominator straight up to stack. Maybe felt like there was a lot of pressure. Long jump in from Undershock. He's going to have some help behind him. Afterlife will be able to follow up with a stun. Disruptor's here, but no ult to be found. Unable to slow down Friends. Posh is going to try and return. Undershock's low. He's going to try for the burrow strike, but it's caught by Afterlife first and bursted down with the heal comes out with the Omni Knight. Now Solo, he's up next, relocated out.
Not very far.
Yeah, Tether, he'll be able to get the distance needed, but we have Friends who managed to smoke up, rotate through. That's a classic smoke rotation into the Dire Jungle, cut across, and because of the kills and where they found them, that'll lead them straight into a 5-man push for the tier 1 tower.
So this position, just tanking, kind of showing that he can only do so much. The repel is really starting to come into play here, as we do have it at level 3. And so the Slider or the Storm, whoever gets it, is able to be much more involved. And you'll still see BKBs come out here, probably for the Luna, if not the Slider as well. But when the repels are up, it really nullifies a lot of potential. Like the Wisp, all he can do is overcharge to help out somebody and heal. He can't do that much more in terms of damage output, and Sand King and Disruptor are in the same boat. So, yeah, they're really dependent on the Sven coming online in a big way, getting some mobility because he's going to get purged most fights, and they just have greater tools on the side of Friends for moving in and out of the fights.
12 to 12, 14 minutes in. And a tier 1 tower being chipped away by no one. He's got the backup of both the Sven and the Wisp too. So this tier 1 tower will fall without much of a challenge from Friends. Looks like they're prioritizing farm for now. Seeing as they got the Radiant tier 1 tower, it's a fair trade-off at this point.
Yep, so looking for the next play here from Friends. As long as the Eclipse is up, you're always confident. You're always able to go. You'd prefer it to be level 11, of course. That's when Luna really hits a great power spike, but or level 2. But at the same time, you're able to kind of make these moves and start dominating and controlling because you have better vision. Like you have great observer wards in the bottom rune, in the southern jungle, and it just means that VP have to play it very safe. The Sven cleans up his ancient stack, might make his way up top just to push out that wave, because everything bottom, that's a death trap.
Friends go for the 5-man push at bottom lane. They've already got some nice aggressive vision down from their earlier rotation with the smoke. They've got this nice river ward, as well as much earlier. They had this one a little bit behind the tier 1 tower. They'll take the tier 1 for free here, as VP know not to go into their own jungle at this point in the game. Too dangerous. Instead, they'll just use the space for no one to be able to clean up mid, and a bit of a top lane push by, of all heroes, Lil's Disruptor.
Can they just go Roche, though? Because I see all these heroes in the mid lane. They have the amp damage. They're just going to go for it. And I really don't think there's any easy way to contest. Sure, you have a Sand King with a Blink Dagger, but you're not going to get there in time, and it's just going to be a really tough spot to fight, even if you do, because of that Eclipse.
Yeah, I think VP, they know this too, and I think they're making the best of this scenario by trying to take down the tier 2 at the top lane. I'm not convinced that they could win fights right now. So maybe better just to be able to take the farming option. Once they get their BKB on Ramses, maybe? I don't know. It feels like he needs so many items, though, right? He needs, kind of still needs Blink Dagger as well, because he needs that nice, strong initiation. I guess the Wisp really helps you out with mobility, but
it helps, but I think that it's still going to be his greatest weakness. Like, I think actually he's going Echo Saber of all things. Yep.
Oh, you're right.
As I say it, but it's just like BKB is an item that, yes, it'll help in a lot of ways this game, but you're still going to be purged. You're still going to be amped. You're still going to have trouble fighting into GA. Like, you just need either really heavy burst to kill off an Omni before he gets his spells off, or you need massive mobility to circumvent the SD. So in this case, he is going to go for the burst output with this Echo Saber, and it can be really good, but again, he's going to be heavily dependent on the Wisp.
Nice stun from Afterlife, crushes 2, and they'll be able to take 2 out of this, I think. Pasha is still stuck inside this Sandstorm, won't be able to make his way out. Amp damage, Burrow Strike, attempt to escape. Not going to make it out. 2 down, and now Friends push forward once again. They've got the Aegis in their hands. They thought it would just be a simple pickoff. Not so simple, though. Friends will be able to put some pressure on this tier 2, it looks like. Just a bit.
And this is what I meant by building a game around an Omni Knight pick. Like, they have been playing very objective focused. They've been playing very well reactionary. They've been in the right place at the right time. They're up against heroes that are heavily dependent on spells. And, of course, you have heroes that are really good when they don't have to worry about them. The Storm with Repel, with Aegis, like, Undershot can do so much this game. And I feel like VP are just, like, purely on the defensive. Like, you have to pray that your Hurricane Pike away doesn't get canceled by an Electric Vortex. And you have to hope that your Sven can actually get in range long enough for a target to bring somebody down.
You're going to have the eventual really obnoxious Shadow Demon disruption pushes that are going to come into play with the Luna. That is probably one of the cheesiest things in Dota right now. Luna's about to pick up her level 2 Eclipse as well. Do you think that, what is VP's real time, besides, Aegis going down and that sort of thing, what do you think is their real time to get aggressive on Friends? Or do they just always play defensive until a mistake is made?
think you have to wait and hope that friends make the mistake of going for a little bit of split push. And obviously, pro players they'll try to be as efficient as possible. So if they at any point spread the map and you see a target by itself, you're a blink burrow relocate away from a kill. Like you have to look for one of those core kills. If you can find a Luna like that, or even like something as low as the Slardar like that, then you could find some really good value. But Storm Spirit's got his 12 charge Bloodstone. He's got his Aegis for a little bit longer, and I feel like they're still going to keep playing the objectives. In fact, going for a smoke here on mid.
They push out mid a little bit, then back up to their counter wards, smoke, and now enter into the Radiant jungle, hoping to be able to catch one, maybe two. Now, if they run into solo, it could actually be two. Solo is definitely going to be the first one down here, and our Sand King may be up next. No, he's already in the trees. TP's out and will escape. So that smoke actually not making that much of a real big splash. A simple support pickoff, but it will turn into a tier 2 tower push.
So it really does seem like VP just want to drag out the game as much as possible. Obviously, we remember the 6.83 ho-ho ha-ha meta of the high ground defense. With the Disruptor, they have that potential, but you mentioned the Shadow Demon Siege. The Shadow Demon Luna, you put a repel on somebody, you're able to dive in. Like, I really don't feel like they can really rely on the high ground that much, and yet they've got a Hand of Midas on the Disruptor. They're hoping they can get him to like an Aghanim Scepter stage, and if that happens, great, but for now, it just feels lacking. They really don't have many tools of dealing with the pressure that's being put out by friends, and obviously not this row cycle we're going to see high ground, but the next one, very possibly.
Quick blink away, very clearly alerting Undershock that there is going to be a ward here. TP back, Undershock is going to make a go here onto no one, but is going to be glimpsed away. Lil saves both the sniper's life as well as his own. They're still going to try and get a catch, though, this time at the top lane push. Ramsey's barely TPing away Yoku, unable to get off the nuke in time, probably not expecting to see the Sven there as he went high ground. Finally, the Blink Dagger is up for the Sven, so there is a bit of a start. Undershock will still run into some heroes, though. An Invis no one sniper will deter Undershock from going on that Wisp alone. 21 minutes in, friends do take that tier 2 at the bottom lane and only make their mid tier 2 go down to about half health, so pretty good exchange. They've got plenty of gold still on the map to be able to farm up. For example, top lane, they're going to go for the push there. Both the tier 1 and tier 2 in short succession should be theirs to have if VP continue to play this game of drawing away from team fights.
At least for now, though, we're just going to be seeing the split push ensue in earnest from multiple sides here. So what you're talking about, like this Midas gaming aspect, like the Disruptor and the Shadow Demon are picking it up for the long haul here. Do you feel like either team is that much more confident in the late game that it's a better pickup for one side or another?
I think VP, in some ways, their best... Oh my god, those two off at the... Alright, they run into each other. Pasha managed to get the initiation first, though, which means that our Slardar is down. Ramses pops the ultimate. Looks like they're going to try and go for the tier 2 here. And our Storm Spirit actually zips away with the Aegis down. He's just going to try and push mid. This is not a fight they want to take. VP, big surge for them. Get the core pick off and get 2 towers. And now
we're going to see Posh go in hard. Static Storm coming out, but they could just go for the repel here. GA is there, but the repel, unfortunately, not. And just still on cooldown for a moment longer.
No fear glimpse back, but no stun available, and God Strength down. So VP hoping to be able to make a clean escape here. Storm Spirit makes the long jump. We'll be able to find solo. That'll be 1. Still, though, the overall war, big shift for VP in their favor. Going back to your question, though, about late game, I guess in some ways, VP's best chance, not necessarily late game, like hardcore late game, but maybe like that 45-minute marker. Yeah, anywhere like 35, 40 minutes. I feel like that's their best time. It's when Sven hits this really, really big peak. When he's got, BKB, Daedalus, those sort of items. I think that is probably their best times. I think all around, this is still a draft win for friends, but VP are essentially making do with what they've got, right? And I think they actually have a really good shot at being able to win this game simply because of the way they've managed to exploit friends a little bit when it comes to movement. They've done really well in movement. Like, that's the first thing. And second thing is, I think that they've they've done well in decision making and deciding to stay away from many of these team fights. I mean, the Storm Spirit only has 13 Bloodstone charges. You would expect a lot more from a Storm Spirit that, you know, didn't die pre-level 6, was able to be a part of a lot of early team fights, had an early Aegis, like all those sort of things say Storm Spirit should be far ahead, but it's actually, his farm at least is looking quite lackluster, and so is his Bloodstone charges.
Yep, we're going to see the attempt to go on the sniper here. I think they'll just be able to relocate him out as long as he doesn't get stunned here. Yoku could go for the Lucid Beam, but there is no relocate just yet. He's going to Hurricane Pike, try to drag it out, and now the relocate comes through, getting the sniper out of harm's way. And we're going to look bottom instead, where there is going to be an opportunity for a blink play on Always Want to Fly.
They do have the Disruptor to follow this one up. Storm Spirit, though, could also turn around. They get the Static Storm, doesn't actually manage to lock down Always Want to Fly. They'll glimpse him back in to be able to get that kill, but Undershock could get a double here. He's obviously going to get Lil. Maybe he can get Pasha as well. Stop in the epicenter just in time, and sure enough, double kill. And now those Bloodstone charges aren't looking so bad. 15 and an Orchid about to be finished up. A big win for the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, that Orchid's going to be huge. So it's going to give him so much potential for him to just go on any target he chooses. The Sand King has picked up a Diffusal Blade, which, as we mentioned last game, is mostly for the Omni Knight, but this case could now be for the Orchid to just allow him to keep his spells rolling, which is really important. He has short cooldowns, he is very spell dependent, and this Storm Spirit's going to be pretty much just very reckless in making his jumps. But we do see that not all is going bad for VP. They got out of that sniper situation, not even losing the Wisp out of it. Beyond that, the Sven just picked up a BKB, so he's got, like, I mean, unfortunately, he's practically 5-slotted at this point. You're going to upgrade the boots, but otherwise, these items are pretty core for your hero. So he has Armlet, BKB, Echo Saber, and Blink. His progression isn't going to be that great beyond this. Like, obviously, going Daedalus will be nice. Going any greater values in strength could be really solid. But at the end of the day, this is about the peak that you mostly see for your average Sven. It's like, you've got immunity, you've got mobility, you've got burst. Just find a target and get that jump in. But I don't know, as long as No Fear continues to position himself very carefully, I think he should be fine. And, you know, VP, in the end, have to take the fight to their opponents. They've been mobile, they've been active, but end of the day, I feel like Friends still have the ability to just go for one pick into a full 5-man barrel down mid.
Undershock spoils potential go on Pasha there, getting caught out by the creeps, but we'll make a safe TP back. And it looks like Friends, they're going to go for a smoke. They've got one on Shadow Demon if they want to. He's got the, who had the mech? Oh, No Fear has the mech, of course. So they've got the mech, they've got the team fight, they've got everything they kind of need. They're going to leave Always Want to Fly out of the smoke. He'll kind of show on map here and maybe full VP, but VP already 3-man smoke themselves and have to
relocate though, so they know that it's not really that big of an opportunity, but it could be a big stun.
Oh, blink, flick, blink. They're going to be able to jump on Always Want to Fly. Almost pop him. The Disruption goes down first. Meanwhile, the Static Storm locking down Undershock. They're going to be able to take him out too. Sniper, peeped. Pasha down. Eclipse able to take him out. Looks like Solo's going to fall as well, but no one in the back is laying havoc. Managed to get a 2-man stand from Runsies. Maybe they can clean them both up. Nice. Echo Saber swing clears out both. Afterlife will fall as well, and No Fear barely gets the kill, but now he's left up against no one. Gets into the trees, will manage to make his way out of the Roshan pit with the TP. No one. He actually realizes with the Storm Spirit back up, he needs to get up, but no! Roshan, you dirty, dirty bugger! Who said you could play for Friends' side? He gets the bash onto the sniper. One hit, one shot only. That's all he had, and he gets the bash, and that means Storm Spirit will manage to pick up the kill on the sniper.
Yeah, it actually turns out to be a very close exchange with obviously the 5 deaths on both sides. I guess you have to call that even to an extent, despite the golden experience being a little bit one way or another. But yeah, it turned out to be a really good start, almost breaking down the Shadow Demon. But if they had actually seen what was going on in that pit, it would have been just tremendous. Can you imagine if the Sven and Sand King had been able to open on the 4 heroes that were inside the pit rather than just a line on 2? Like, that would have been, was 100% 5-0 wipe. But they end up putting a lot of damage to the Shadow Demon, and then he defensively disrupts and gets healed back to full by the Bloodstone when the Storm Spirit ends up going down. So, good target party still. VP recognized the threat that the Storm Spirit presents when he is caught and repelled, so they just kill him before that happens. But at the end of the day, it still becomes a bit of a null exchange between the two. Now, we do have the relocate opportunity on the Sniper who just respawned, but it's going to be hard to close the distance to the pit right here.
Yeah, Pasha even having his Blink Dagger pinged out, won't be able to jump in. In fact, is initiated first onto Afterlife. Now, oh no, they're going to be able to have Sniper. He's sitting up there, but he won't be able to follow this fight too much. Friends, they're going to be able to kite this one around. Ramses can't lock himself onto any one hero. Pops the BKB, is able to clean up. No Fear turns. Undershock out of mana, but he has the Aegis. They're going to clean up the supports first. Ramses now looking for some sort of escape. Won't be able to make the Blink Dagger out here. Hopes to just take away the Aegis from Undershock. Can't even do that much. Oh, how much of that? I mean, the Sand King stopping his initiation, that was huge. The fact that Shadow Demon did that, that was really big. But how much do you think that fight also lays on to the Sniper being on the high ground? Like, he couldn't actually pursue that fight for the last, like, 5 or 6 seconds of relocate.
Yeah, he had the choice of, like, Hurricane Piking off and trying to go just completely mad mode. But this isn't Rambo. This guy loves to stay in the trees. He loves to stay as far back as possible. And if you'd Hurricane Pike, he'd probably just die right there. So keeps his distance, puts only half of the damage that I expected into the fight, and in the end, yeah, I gotta still say the biggest card to play there was Afterlife and Always Want to Fly disrupting the initiation. Shadow Poison getting the crush and opening the fight the way that they wanted right when Roche went down. Couldn't have been better for Friends. Still, I love the cheeky idea of no one contesting the high ground. Like, if Sand King actually made it to the pit, if he had actually gotten the initiation, then you had the Sniper right up there just peeping in, that would have been absolutely astounding. And they probably could have swung it the other way, but there's just too much vision on the side of Friends. It's just so difficult to close that distance unless you have like Blink and Aghanims on the Sand King.
Yeah, now that they've got the BKB on Sniper as well, they really can, you know, actually do a full contest of Friends better and don't have to worry about the Eclipse or the Storm Spirits and what he can do in that short period of time. They just need to be able to get the right kind of initiation. As you said, Friends being able to stop Sand King's entrance into that fight was the biggest factor. BKB now up on the Slardar as well, and a Linken's for the Storm Spirits. So, Repel and Linken's, this Storm Spirit... Like this game is his, right? Like, he could do whatever he want. He could just jump in. He's got an Aegis. He's got 14 Bloodstone charges. This game, if it's not won by Friends, you can probably lay some big share of responsibility on Undershock, because this lineup should enable him to do so much. But VP have done pretty well controlling things, and all they need is just one big team fight to turn the tables.
Yeah, it's true, but I definitely think that at this point, Undershock, like, it is his game to just jump in and do whatever he wants. The only thing that can really take him down is like a double crit coming out from the Sven. But Undershock, his next item might as well be Bloodthorn in my mind. Like, he's got all the defensive tools he needs and all the mana regen tools and the Linken's and the Bloodstone. As long as he can rely on Omni Knight to get that Repel now, and he's got the Aether Lens, I really do feel like you just go in.
Undershock makes a jump over. Again, trying to probe Pasha. Not able to get it. Oh, Hurricane. They will manage to still catch no one. He does have Soul in the back lines, though. Ready to go with the relocate out. They pop the BKB. Relocate a short distance away. Meanwhile, Ramses was all in, but couldn't manage to finish off the Luna. Instead, gets Afterlife. Turns towards Undershock next because BKB is down. That means Eclipse will finish him off. Pasha slowed down by Always Want to Fly. Couldn't get the jump onto Yoku. Couldn't even kill Shadow Demon. No Fear responds with a swift heal. No Fear still goes down, though, with the sniping of the Sniper. Undershock backs himself away, but a big win there for Friends, I would say, as long as Undershock doesn't get caught here. Still has his Aegis, but choosing not to fight Yoku at half HP. Probably not a good idea to try and turn this one. Lil is still hoping to be able to get some sort of glimpse pick off. Not going to be the case here.
Yep, so the big thing, of course, being this Sven's BKB really starting to dwindle down to 7 seconds now, getting killed off again. Friends just taking it time and time again. Now, we will see that there's only 1 minute left on the Aegis here, so the Storm Spirit won't have that life insurance to play around with, but all the same, they're really just getting a foothold in this game, getting another 2 BKB charges, one on no one on Ramses, and it's really tough. Like, at this point, you look at, like, from Lil's player perspective, he's about to have Aghanim Scepter, but even then, nothing is guaranteed. Like, yeah, you can prevent some items from coming out. If you catch the Luna in the Static Storm, great. But it's still very easy for you to be killed off as the Disruptor, and it's still very difficult to actually prevent the Omni Knight from getting those repels.
And this is, they need another Diffusal Blade. Just so when Undershot comes in, Diffusal Blade 1, Diffusal Blade 2 takes off the Repel. Then they can actually get off the Disruptor's Static Storm. Because if he comes in with Repel already on him and the Lincoln's up,
Repel Lincoln is so stupid, honestly.
Yeah.
Like when I first started seeing Repel Lincolns come out on Storm Spirit, I even thought about when Lincoln's Active came out, and you could just maybe rush a Lincoln Sphere on Omni Knight, and the Storm doesn't even have to buy it. And that's dirty, but like there are very few things that can answer with that many ways to do a single target strike through Magic Community. Posh just trying to create space, doesn't really succeed in that endeavor, gets killed off, and I mean they were probably rotating around there for the jungle anyways. But like the biggest thing that used to be single target that went through Magic Community was actually Riki's old ultimate. He had 3 charges on Blink Strike as an ultimate, and he could actually just pop that and a Diffusal Blade and instantly break it. And that used to be my go-to counter, but nowadays there's really not that much in the game with the 4-second Diffusal Blade, other than just buying a second Diffusal Blade.
Well, the Disruptor Ags is up. The potential for big plays is there, but friends obviously have plenty of counterplay, as we've talked about at length, especially in the Storm Spirit. What else do we really have? Sniper, he's got 2,300 with completed Mjolnir. Ramses will obviously be trying to complete his Daedalus, but at this point, with the way they're being pressured, I can't see either one of these cores picking up a fresh item anytime soon, especially when they need to hold on to buyback.
Yeah, so at this point, it's just going to be friends that continue to snowball. They keep build up the Luna. She's going to have, it looks like, the Scotty next. Just a huge HP pool to work with here. And then from there, the Storm Spirit's actually looking for the Hex. So Bloodthorn, a little bit more aggro in terms of damage. Obviously, great if the Sniper goes for Butterfly, but for now, you're not seeing that. And the Hex is probably just the easier tool to work with. In fact, you can probably start a fight without a BKB coming out on one of the 2 cores, the Sven or the Sniper. And that's going to immediately force the relocate, or there's really no response.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use that precious Diffusal Charge defensively on the Hex.
Yeah,
if you even have the reaction type for it, but then you have absolutely nothing against the Repel.
Long jump in, Solo will be the free pickoff here. No one left a bit stranded. His allies are coming in hot, so he feels comfortable sitting around, but I'm pretty sure friends are still willing to take this fight as well. BKB for BKB. They're going to man mode against the Slardar. Undershock was the target, but Ramses is unable to lock down anyone here. He's just being kited around by the Scotty, while Undershock goes ham in the back, goes for the supports, unable to get the Sand King. He blinks himself away. The Eclipse takes out 2, looks for a third. No one. He's going to be targeted with the amplified damage. Won't be able to make it away with Hurricane Pike. 4 down, 1 buyback, a second one available on the Sven, but no God Strength. It looks like friends should be able to go for this lane of racks with some ease.
Yeah, just really strong draft coming out from friends. This is how we expected it to execute, and it's really coming into fruition here in this 36-minute mid-game. Glaves, oh my gosh, my computer feels like it's about to crash with all this.
All right, Eclipse going down, but no. Stopped once again by Undershock. Managed to get the Orchid, and now Undershock dropping a bit low. Uh-oh, Undershock's actually down. How did that happen? He had plenty of mana to work with. Yoku's actually going to be slowed down as well. Diffusal bladed up. Pasha turned around on, though. You thought you could man up against the other core. That's just not the case. Yoku is plenty strong right now, and he'll be able to take out both lanes of Rax. Well, not him, but his Shadow Demon Illusions.
Yep, so cleans up the mid lane here, and that's just going to, feel like, be the beginning of the end. I mean, we could theoretically see, like, the Daedalus picked up for the Sven to the point where he's able to eliminate a target like Storm or Omni almost immediately, but you see how liberally No Fear is using this Guardian Angel in the fights. Like, the second he sees Sven in melee range of a Storm Spirit, he's like, nope, no damage for you whatsoever. And it's like the Sand King is helpless with this Diffusal Blade. He's just wasting charges on Link. It's actually like a non-item at this point, so... the strat is just too strong. The cheeses. You were talking about Shadow Demon cheese, but this Lincoln's repel action is a little bit too much.
Yeah. VP, the only way they can actually win fights, it seems like, is if they're the ones actually initiating on friends, then they can actually have the opportunity to jump in, get a Sven Stormhammer to lead things off, and Disruptor can go ahead and throw down the Static Storm, and maybe you catch the Storm Spirit without the repel on him. But now we have another Lincoln's.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Just brutal. Like, there's almost no stopping it now. Like, at this point, you have to just rely on right-click raw damage alone. And you've bought back on heroes, you've lost a lot, and Ramses is actually going to be initiated on to start this off.
Maybe he can get off a quick BKB, already hit by his stun. Oh, Jesus, the physical damage is just tearing him apart with the amplified damage. They're slowing him down. Ramsey's definitely done for, and Undershock keeps on moving forward. GG is the call before the fight is even over. They tap out. VP know it's all over. And we are going to a game number 3.
Yeah, just really solid pickups across the board here. Friends had the mid game, the late game in under wraps. VP, they, once again, putting themselves in a position where they had to really force the issue on the early game. And while we did see that a little bit out of the Sand King Wisp for the first half of the laning phase, it got brought back by Friends very effectively. And he just didn't see enough from VP. So VP, game 1, looking really strong in terms of early tempo and just good movement on the map. We saw the movement here in game 2, but it wasn't enough to stop Friends really just overwhelming momentum as they got in their stride.
Both teams trying to keep their hope alive for qualifying for the Summit number 6. They are on the lower bracket, so it means this next game, the game number 3, one of these teams is out of the qualifier. Who's it going to be? We'll find out in just a few minutes.